Welcome back.
Thank you.
You've been everywhere.
How'd you feel about, I was thinking about you in Dublin. So we had about 10 people. We were going to look for reservation at this restaurant. And this is, I think maybe Thursday night. So the game, the
Scotland,
rugby game.
Scotland Island game.
Right. The rugby game's on Saturday. So this was 2 days before. And the lady's very nice, very, very big pub. And she's like, I can't make a reservation. Show up. You might have to wait half an hour at the bar, but we'll find space for you. So like, all right, sounds great. She goes, and tonight, the Scots are coming. So we all look at each other like, what? Like, the Scots are coming tonight. You know, in the full brogue. And we're like, oh my God, well, what happens when the Scots show up?
Bad things happen with Scots.
But the word was out on the street. And then when we were doing our ruck, there was many a kilt.
Was there?
Yeah.
So you saw lots of Scots there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Man, it was an incredible time to be in
Oh, my
Ireland.
God. I mean, what a weekend, really. With St. Paddy's Day, it never stopped. We did the food tour on a Thursday. No, we got there Thursday. Friday, we did I can't remember the days anymore. But there was like a real big buildup. We did the double-decker bus.
Yeah.
You know, it was like an hour and a half, see all of Dublin, one shot.
And this is your first time to Ireland?
No. I've been there quite a few times.
Okay.
But certainly not with this, anticipation in the air, because the streets were packed. Everything was green, very young. And, to me now, everybody's young, but young. And streets were just incredibly overrun.
Yeah, I got confused because I thought Paddy's Day was on, for the game, because sometimes it falls on the game.
Oh, wow. I don't know if that would
but
be
it fell on the Wednesday or Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
So you arrived in Dublin. The whole idea was GORUCK Dublin. So Lyon's Rucking Club was there.
We represented.
Folks coming over from the US.
Yeah.
Old colleagues and friends.
Yeah, 2 or 3, 4 came from US.
And this was a cadre-led.
Well, they did a shakeout on Thursday night. And
What's a shakeout?
Well, the only reason it was free of charge and there was a patch. So we're like, all right, we'll go meet up. So I came right from the airport, got dropped off. My wife goes right to the hotel. Yeah, get out with my ruck, ready to go. It's pouring rain. And it's basically just, it ended up being about 5 miles. Like he wanted to just shake everybody out.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you're shaking off the legs. Yeah. Okay.
And that turned into like 5 pub stops.
I did.
We got a decent lay of the land, I guess. It was funny because that was a Thursday night, so like a regular night on the street. So we started about 6 p.m., finished about 9. So like we were in a residential area all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It was very big, commuter heavy in the beginning. And then we're walking back and there's like nobody on the street. It's like, oh, it's a little strange, So you got to see some, and it was just outside of Dublin. So you got to see like a little bit more of real life than the city, just, city Temple Center. Bar area or something.
Yeah. Although that's a lot of fun, isn't it?
Well, we did a food tour Sunday after the ruck, and we were down around Temple Bar Saturday afternoon. They brought us like 5 different places to eat, Irish coffee place, and it was you could just feel it picking up in the afternoon, just like, oh man.
What the excitement.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not coming down here tonight.
Yeah. No, it was good. It was unfortunately Scotland were unable to do it. Ireland seems to be our bogey team. And then the anticipation sort of, well, I guess for them, it continued, but for the Scots, sent home to think again.
Well, we were staying at the hotel that the Irish team was staying at.
Yeah, I saw all of the
videos. Yeah. Oh my God, these guys.
They're big units. Big. And there's some of the best. I mean,
like you get off the elevator and there's a big guy, like, you take him back, like, oh man, I'm about to get rolled here. What's going on? And he's got his kids and his wife is there. You know what I mean? So they're monsters, but they're certainly human. And
it's weird. I mean, being the age that I am, but I think rugby players, given the stress of the game and the training, they seem to age faster. So you see these players that are retired and they're only 35 years old, but they look like they're 50. But huge athletes.
Huge.
And the fact that they're doing it, without the same sort of padding that, American football has.
Oh God, just can't get over that part of it. Americans so protected. I think they were saying that with all the timeouts, commercial breaks, actual play for NFL football is like 7 minutes.
Is that right?
In an ordinary game.
Which means that sort of endurance doesn't really come into it then, does it? Because I got
a lot of time in between plays.
And you've got your rotating defense, offense,
special teams. So
yeah, we're sort of going that way in rugby. They're bringing on what they now, the subs, they call it, the sort of bomb squad or the impact players. And so it takes away, if it's injured, great. But if not, for me, it's sort of, you want to test that engine. Who's the fittest? Have a sport that really sort of shows you, okay, the strongest, the fittest, the most aggressive.
Right. Who can outlast.
Yeah. So how was the rucking itself? What was the distance? So you did your shakeout.
We did a shakeout Thursday. So Saturday we started the ruck. We had full day of sunshine, which I guess has been weeks. The Irish have told us, like, yo, you picked a great day for this. It was a beautiful, beautiful day. Some of the points that we had to find were down, O'Connell Square and stuff like that. So you couldn't get down the sidewalk. And, in Ireland, you got to watch the buses coming from a different direction, the bicycles coming. So if you try to hop in the street to get around the pedestrians, it was like, oh, that bus came very close. Why is it going the wrong way? So it ended up to be just about almost 11 miles.
Okay, so that's a good distance.
Yeah. And we stopped off for a Guinness before our final point. And thank God we did, because our final point was at a bar called Fagan's, and it was wall to wall.
Really?
I mean, we could not find a seat. We had like 5 guys, could not find a seat. So we went around the corner, and we met these British guys who were there on a bachelor party. And they scooted over, and we sat, like we were each looking at a different TV, But the whole crowd was into it. The waitresses were running mad. I mean, if you wanted to get a refill, you waited about 30 seconds.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe it. And everybody was there. There was kids. There were old ladies. It was incredible. Every
they all get behind it.
Yep.
No, it's incredible. An Irish sport. I mean, they've really... In terms of rugby, they've, over the past, I would say, 10 years, they really have come on. And over the past 5, they've really dominated at the top level, which for a small country and a small, playing group, it's a phenomenal achievement. But like I said, they just got something on the Scots that the Scots cannot shake it.
Really?
So we can beat the English, we can beat the French the weekend before. Phenomenal going into it.
I mean, I know almost nothing about rugby, but we watched the French game later that night. I mean, as an American, I'm like, the fix is in. A penalty, 1 second left. Are you kidding me?
You won't be the only one that thought that. Certainly, there were a lot of English fans moaning about the referee in that final decision. But what a spectacle, and great that France won.
Yes.
And that boy, Ramos, the one who took the final kick. I mean, the balls on him.
I mean, they prepped him. They prepped him up like, this is the greatest kicker in the world, and blah blah blah. And I'm, hoping they'd lose. And I'm like, he's going to put that right through, isn't he? And, true professional.
Yeah. And then, and so what was the mood when it changed, when he made that kick, Irish Hearts? I mean, they're going to party anyway, right? So at this stage,
what? We took a lot of taxis when, back and forth wherever we were going. So that's what I asked the taxi driver, like, hey, how did it feel rooting for the English last night? He's like, it's no problem. It's no problem. Like he tried to shrug it off. The next morning, he was telling me that. I'm like,
yeah, it created a unique fan experience with them supporting the English, which of course you don't get a lot. But and then what happened after that? So you then bounced through Ireland.
Food tour. Then we did the Belfast.
Oh yeah,
with
the black hat.
Taxi. Yeah.
That must have satisfied your
you get off
military.
You get off the train right in the main Belfast station, and there's that Europa Hotel that I guess is the most bombed hotel in the world. 33 detonations.
Really?
Yeah, at that hotel. You see it right away. So we had a little time. We went over and did the Titanic Museum. So then we had to take a taxi back to meet our tour guide. So it was a Protestant taxi driver. And he's like, "Oh, you're here for the black cab ride, right?" Kind of just giving us the usual tourist jokes. And he's like, "Just remember, take it with a grain of salt. Some of these guys are not who they say they are, because I think it's represented as you're getting a tour by somebody who either fought in the Troubles, grew up in the Troubles. That's like the authentic part that's offered for the tour." So he's like, "Just watch out. Some of these guys weren't old enough to have done anything." And but he gave me a perspective of, there's no fighting now, but it doesn't mean it's peaceful. He says tension always lives here. He said, "You Americans, you get to live. We here survive."
Really?
Yeah. So then we get right out of that cab, get in the black cab, and this guy was born the same year as me, so 1969. So he grew up as a child with the Troubles. So 69 is about when it started, 68, 69. So he talked about being 10 or 11, sent to the South to live with relatives when it got really bad. Most of your tour is of murals. So it's very big there.
Street murals.
Yeah, huge.
Buildings and
not touched. No, there's no graffiti on them. So it's kind of like a community board of what's the feeling of that community.
Yeah, it's like an expression of a collective.
So on the Catholic side was, the Palestinian flag was everywhere.
Were you ready for that?
I've been warned about that. Like, don't be surprised when you see the Palestinian flag. So I guess that their feeling of the oppressors, and I get it. I mean, I'm not there to make judgment. I just want to see it. And then you go to the Protestant side, and the tour guide says, when I bring people from the UK around, they're like, these northern Belfast people are more English than we are. Like murals of the king, the queen, Israel flags. Mm-hmm. And a lot of history, but there's still 4 gates that are locked at night in between the neighborhoods, 2 sides in Belfast. So there's still security gates. And they still kept, it's called the Peace Wall. So that's still up. And all the surrounding residents want to keep it because every once in a while rocks get thrown. And he brought us to this neighborhood that's literally right next, their backyard is the Peace Wall, and they have windows, and they're all graded, like for protection from rocks. So they're still living in that.
Did you feel that? Did you get any indication? Has the tension increased of late, or do you sort of? What was your reaction?
They didn't really express any of that. One thing that really struck me was when you read this, the history of this, and they're describing the neighborhoods. The Catholic neighborhood, the Protestant neighborhood, running from, backyards. These are like 1-story houses. It looks like developments, 1 story. And it just regular suburban housing. It looks like a small town. And that's the fight. That's where the fight was. And to me, that brought it home a little bit more. Like it wasn't in the city, it was backyards or ambushed on a street corner you probably took every day going to work. So they didn't get too into specific fights. They had some pictures of like, all right, this is how this street looked, with the side-by-side photos. Some tanks and patrolling and cars on fire, some barricades. But it brought it home that this fight was between neighbors, and not on a grand scale. It was neighborhoods, which I didn't anticipate that. But in town, Belfast Center was just like any other Irish town. Big, but not. You didn't feel like any real tension. And I asked the tour guide, like, how do these neighbors feel? We weren't the only tour out there. There were other buses and tourists going to these spots and taking photos.
A lot of Americans?
Couldn't really tell. Couldn't really tell where everybody was from. But, if I lived in a neighborhood and 50, 60 people show up, take a picture of the wall on my house.
Strange, eh?
Be strange.
Yeah.
And he said no. He said they appreciate the reflection of their past. But to me, that was like still another, it's like going into your town here. Big black bus shows up, and I mean, I hate to admit it, I was one of them. On the bus, off the bus, snapping photos, and but it's scary to think that there's still 4 gates every night that get locked down.
Yeah,
to keep.
It serves as a reminder, doesn't it? I mean, tension's always there in terms of political differences and religious differences, and especially now.
Yeah,
especially now, crazy times.
Yep.
Yeah, well, we've missed you a couple of weeks. We try to get the studio moving along. We're not that far away now from the sort of grand opening. Just got to wait for some final elements to arrive, and we did. We had our first episode 22. Unfortunately, was a dead duck. So, but yeah, it's building. It's like anything, a golf swing or baseball. You just have to keep swinging, keep practicing.
You get there.
Keep moving forward. And, changing the format, and we'll still go down into town for, some Lyon interviews at the studio there. So, it's all coming along.
That's great.
And so what of current affairs? You keeping up to date with all things military? I mean, this has got to be...
I've kind of, you can't trust the videos. You're hearing the report. I'm trying to watch the news from the prior day on YouTube from the U.S., and you're not sure if you're on the right day. The videos are all looking the same. The propaganda piece of that, I was part of the invasion of Iraq in 2003. So I didn't get to see the shock and awe and all those photos that they put forward in the beginning of that war until I got home. And I feel like I'm watching the same thing now, thanks. I'm watching the same buildup of that. So I'm not down with the propaganda piece.
The propaganda piece has been incredible in terms of how quickly, avenues have been shut down, the change in the algorithm. Very powerful stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, my algorithm's changing every single day. Very hard to know, what to trust.
It was certainly decisive in the beginning. Like, you'd never heard of a decapitation of a complete government like that. But now they're talking about 82nd Airborne and the Marines getting ready to do something.
That's got to stir something up in you.
Oh, I hate it.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate the whole Iranian regime. I mean, I grew up with the American hostages.
Yeah.
Tie a yellow ribbon around the tree, and every day on the news was the counter for how many days they've been in custody. I remember at my school, once they got released, I guess there was somebody from our county was one of the hostages, and he came in to talk to us. I must have been I might have been like 5th grade. I don't know, 5th, 6th grade, whatever. And I just remember that being so impactful. Like, why does Iran hate us? And then the Marine bombing the barracks, Lebanon. I mean, that drove me nuts. So I have no love for the Iranians, and if they can take them out, great. But you can't win a war with air power. Our doctrine is land is not taken until there's boots on the ground. Until there's an infantryman standing on that hill, it's not taken. So how do they remove this uranium, right? I guess that would be a priority. How do they just that simple fact. I mean, I don't see the Iranians handing it over.
No.
Securing it, make sure there's not any more. So I don't know how they're going to do it without that. But if he puts, the 82nd Airborne into Iran, that's politically, I think that's it for Trump. I mean, he ran on that.
No, this was my major issue. There was clearly things really escalating in Ukraine,
right?
And he was running on no more foreign interventions, and he sort of thought, okay, whatever the relationship is with Russia, that maybe he can fix that. And then all of a sudden, the Americans are being pulled into Iran, and clearly that has split his base. And the fact that it was on the back of, all things Epstein files, that throws a wrench into everything. And then, you're used to a sort of build up, a community, your own propaganda operation, right? Your own psyops, as they like to say, but you're used to something building, whatever it is, whether you want to believe the uranium narrative or you want to believe the oil narrative or the regime change narrative. We had none of that. All of a sudden it was just, oh yeah, we're bombing. Well, not we're, but the West, I guess. America's bombing Iran. Who's dead? He's dead. He's not dead,
Right.
And then, big questions. Obviously, the base splits, huge voices. I mean, I don't even know what to call it now, but I guess that that alliance that he built up is completely destroyed. And then you got Tucker Carlson and the rest of those voices that were probably central independents. I know Tucker's clearly on the right, but you've got conservative voices with this alliance of those that he managed to win over, the Dave Smiths, and it's just blowing up.
Yeah.
But like everything with Trump, I guess it's not over until it's over, and you've got to imagine, or you've got to think that it is possible that, well, anything's possible, right? So it could go any which way. But certainly nobody wants to see.
Resonates with me is Colin Powell told George Bush Sr. with the Gulf War, with that decisive victory, and the question of, do we keep going? Do we go to Baghdad? Do we take over Iran? And Colin Powell's like, if you break it, you buy it. With that simple adage, that is this something that you want to invest in, Mr. President? And his son obviously didn't mind, thinking that was going to be. I was in Iraq when I was watching on this TV when George Bush, the president, landed on the aircraft carrier, and it had the big sign, "Mission accomplished." I'm in Iraq watching that, like, oh, great. I've only been out here since January. So what was that, like May, June? I'm like, this was, not as fast as Desert Storm, but, I'll take it. And it was, nope, enemy always gets a vote. And I don't think we're just going to be able to bomb Iran without, severe repercussions. And their military, with their cheap drones, have achieved massive military success.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to specifically ask you about was, for somebody who studies, you obviously served, you've maintained your interest, in all things warfare and the history of warfare. And, when we went to Normandy, to all those merchandise outfits, that we could see, it was fascinating to hear you talk about, whether it be this rucksack or, I don't know, this you put in your sock or this, there was all this paraphernalia and, the various artillery, not just the guns, but, the larger guns, the tanks, etc. And then all of a sudden 2026, and we've clearly not, well, here's the thing. So a couple of things. What have we learned from Ukraine, or what haven't we learned from Ukraine? Because clearly this was something to be expected. Right? Shouldn't have been a surprise. And yet they've got millions of these things. They're churning them out. And how do you defend against them? And drones we're speaking about.
Well, we fire $1 million rockets at them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Enemy always gets a vote.
And then you've got these, little, essentially remote controlled, causing huge amounts of damage.
$200. And those, I saw those attacks in Kuwait and Saudi Arabia on the, taking out the radar on a U.S. base. They're not protected. They're not set up. Those were set up to defend against Iraq.
They weren't set up for Iraq. They were for Iraq.
For Iraq. So, the biggest issue back in 2003 was a Scud.
Scud missile.
Hitting Kuwait in the marshalling areas that we were getting prepped for the invasion. There were large concentrations of troops there. But Kuwait City, driving from the airport to one of these camps, Kuwait wasn't set up. It didn't look like it was getting war ready. It's just our bases kind of blend into the background of their territory. Big domes of radar. But you look at it now with Iran, and I'm sure they're getting the Russian help, but it's like easy pickings, man. And they did not hit, the truck parking lot. They hit $1 million radars, and they hit, tactical operation centers and the Fifth Fleets.
And we're not talking outdated.
No, just unprepared. They're not hiding. Like I'm sure your average citizen doesn't see it unless they drive close to the base because there's big walls and, probably barbed wire, that type of thing. But from the air, from a drone, from a satellite photo, I'm sure targeting is not difficult.
It still amazes me that stuff's built above ground, though, given that, these military installations that are targets. Why are you building on top of, why aren't you building them underground?
I'm sure there's some science involved with that. And the fact that I'm sure those governments don't want the impression that these are permanent structures. Like the Americans are going to be here forever type thing.
Yeah, it's such a pity. I mean, obviously spent a lot of time in the Gulf, loved visiting the Gulf, great friends, and what this would do long term is really heartbreaking.
Oh yeah, I mean they were targeting those high rises.
Yeah,
right.
And then you hear stories. I mean, obviously we can't validate any of this stuff, but you hear stories about everything that's sort of intercepted or shot down, and in the thousands. And you think, wow.
Right.
It's always a question of one gets through, and you're criticized because of that. But obviously, these things are designed for 100%. One hit is all it takes. But if they are successfully bringing down thousands, and one gets through, then it's a new world.
And a lot of I know that one of our missions in the desert was protecting the Patriot missile batteries as we rolled from Kuwait into Iraq. And the one thing, I didn't understand much about it other than I had to protect it, but the speed. So I'm wondering, like the Patriot missile is locked in on the speed of a rocket, right? That it's going to shoot down another ballistic type missile. So I'm wondering if some of these can't even pick up a drone that's going 60 miles an hour, Like if the radar even, I'm sure the radar identifies it, but I don't know if you can.
Well, they were talking about the height that it flies at. You're right. The speed that it flies out, changing direction.
Yeah.
But again, it's not new. We've seen all of this.
No,
it played. For me, what was interesting was, when those first scenes came out, and it was start of the war in Ukraine and Russia just launching stacks, and you saw that footage.
Yep.
And then this war starts, and you don't get any of that. We didn't see any of it.
No.
I mean, you really have to go and dig for, that to get even close to that kind of footage.
No, we haven't seen more than trucks.
Yeah.
We saw a bunker. That's what I mean. It's the same, like Desert Storm. I think everybody was mesmerized by our technology. And they weren't even all smart bombs back then. They were a lot grainier. Like if you look back at some of these old videos, very grainy. But compared to today, like you're almost reading the license plate when this is going in to hit a truck. But they're hitting trucks. I know, some of them have missiles. That's great. But you're seeing, I don't know, not seeing, the uranium areas, the things that are going to matter. So I don't know. I just kind of feel like it's a whitewash with, all right, here's 10 videos for you tonight.
Yeah.
Look at, we're winning.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a $60 drone right there.
Yeah, it just took out multi-million-dollar installation.
Yeah. But what you said about Russia is what I was thinking with the U.S. All right, we're going in. Everything's looking great in the beginning, and then the brakes get put on, right? The Russians can't take Kyiv. And then all of a sudden, we're back to World War I with drones.
Yeah, and also, Ukrainians responding, right, with their own innovations and ingenuity and iron will.
I think that's been unmatched in the 20th century for sure, or 21st century.
But it must, I mean, how does it make you feel when you're sort of watching it now? Does it, I mean, there must be throwback elements to what couldn't have been a...
Well, if I was, 18-year-old soldier, I'd be like, yeah, man, I'm going to get mine in. Let's
That's the mentality. Isn't
Oh
it?
yeah.
So you're not training for nothing.
As an infantryman living, as a active duty Army infantryman, yeah, you're like,
I'm good. I'm ready to go.
Drop me on Tehran, man.
Right.
My great grandfather jumped into Normandy. Here's my time.
Right.
I mean, that's what I think. People that I've experienced on active duty who are in combat arms are like, let's go. But what do you want? A clear mission, supported. You want to feel like people back home are on your side, which, I don't think if I was in active duty, I'd be turning off the news, or leaving on Fox or something, because CNN might bring morale down.
But even this is something, because again, depending on who you listen to, right? We're back into the election campaign where it was, you've got one form of media saying, Trump's not going to win, and then he wins in a landslide. We're seeing a similar sort of thing happening now, although it seems to be flipped, right? I mean, CNN, did you see that CNN poll with 100% support from Republicans?
That almost seems like a bait and switch right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nobody's 100% of anything.
So being an American, what would you think? Where would you put a poll in terms of the sport?
Well, a lot of my family's on the blue side, so I put it at 0.
All right.
For the war, not the truce. But the crazy left is rooting for Venezuela. They want to put the dictator back in, rooting for the Ayatollah. I can understand the argument of there hasn't been a clearly stated mission for this. I've been looking for it, and I don't know, is it the regime change? Is it they were days away from a nuclear bomb? I don't know. Did we obliterate it in June? I thought we right? I mean, all the press, everybody was happy with the 48-hour flight to take it out and obliterate it. Don't worry about it anymore. I was like, all right, I'm down with that. But boots on the ground, man. It's just there's no way out without a lot of death, without a lot of useless death at this point. And where's the uprising? Right? I mean, he put that in as part of the menu. Now, don't rise up now, but soon you'll be able to take your country back. I mean, how do you take that from a dictatorship that's got all the guns?
Got all the guns, got all the drones.
And they'll fight. I mean, the Islamic regime, they're not fighting for country or communism or all these other things that we fought in the past. I mean, religion's a whole different ballgame.
But even I saw some discussion online about, the use of the word regime in terms of propaganda, and we don't refer to it as, Trump's regime. So, a government leader was assassinated, in his 80s.
I mean, allegedly they
tried
to kill Trump twice.
Right.
But we don't really
We don't know the answer to that, though, do we?
We don't really see, like, on this day, which would have been justifiable in my eyes. However, is there real evidence? How long ago was that? Are we just going to pick them off one at a time?
But it does seem that, up until, I would say, the Charlie Kirk assassination, it seemed like Trump's administration, Trump's regime, had everything, going his way in terms of he was delivering left, right, and center, super fast communications, clear objectives, clear mission.
Seemed sensible. Right?
Seemed sensible. And then all of a sudden, there was this operation in June, and then the bombing of Iran. All of a sudden, just we're there. There was no preamble. There was no.
Right. I think he had such great success with Venezuela. I mean, nobody getting killed.
Yeah, but at the same time, Billy, you got. I mean, are we great at intelligence, or are we not great at intelligence? Are we the smartest, most technologically developed, or are we not? Right? You can't. I think that the narrative can't have it both ways, right? You're either riding.
I think it depends on your enemy, because Venezuela had Cuban guards, had some Venezuelan guards. Obviously, for them to pull this off, they knew who was on duty, who stood where. I think they had probably great infiltration on his security plans.
Yeah, but if you're killing
defeat it.
If you're killing an 80-year-old guy, right, who probably doesn't have that much longer to live.
Different ball game. I mean, it's an actual. Right? Nobody was ever afraid of the Venezuelan army or whatever.
It's an ancient civilization.
They are going to fight, and every plan's great, right? Mike Tyson to get punched in the face. And I think we're back on our heels a little bit. Apparently, there's a plan for 6 to 8 weeks, whatever. We'll see.
Well, yeah, you might have a plan for 6 to 8 weeks. The Americans might have a plan. The Iranians, they don't need a rush at all.
Nope. And they engaged everybody in the Gulf. I mean, they attacked Azerbaijan.
Yeah.
There's no way they expected that. There's no way they expected them to just come out swinging.
Yeah, it's madness. And then, to put your other hat on, what you have then is you have a rise in domestic attacks, right? Which then get framed under terrorism.
Mm-hmm.
So you've increased the terrorism risk. Your head of counterterrorism then resigns.
Yeah.
Creates what is that now?
Yeah, I mean,
he's going around all of the same. He's implementing the same communication strategy that Trump had for the election.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that can't be hurt. That can't be helping the administration.
No. I mean, I always have a lot of respect for somebody who comes out and states what they really think, especially in the government. Yeah. I mean, Thomas Massey's catching so much crap now. Republican runner.
He's really rattled the cage.
Yeah. I mean, I would think, which is naive, but you would appreciate somebody sitting at the table with another point of view. If 9 out of 10 guys are like, let's go get him, it's like, wait a minute.
I agree.
Somebody doesn't want to say anything?
Yeah, so he was former director of the National Counterterrorism Center. Resigned in a very public way, published a letter, still in support of Trump, puts all of this onto Netanyahu in Israel. So then you've got, you're going into June. We're going into April. We've got June, the World Cup. A stack of people coming. Doesn't look good, does it?
No. The risks now are tripled. I mean, especially with U.S. Not even sure who's got in the country in the last 4 years.
Right.
And what a great way to have that set up.
I mean, it feels like the worst obviously is still to come, but it doesn't look good for a civilian life, civilian travel, major events. What happened after 9/11? I mean, that changed travel forever.
Yeah. Yeah, and they were just starting to get a little lax on stuff.
They were relaxing that.
Keep your shoes on.
Keep your liquids in your bag. Again, it's like that intelligence assessment.
Yeah.
What are we looking for? Oh, that can,
right.
We don't know what liquid that is. That could be whatever bomb.
Right.
Okay.
Well, they had specific intelligence, I think, on that at that time for that type of delivery. But 20 years later, and the shoes.
Yeah. And then I guess for me is where do you draw that line between sort of civil liberties and, utter control?
Right.
Like where does that come in?
Well, the Patriot Act in the U.S., 2001, I mean, they took control and never gave it up. So once the government gets it, they're not giving it back.
Exactly.
So unless you can live with a certain amount of insecurity, you're just going to be a subject.
Yeah. Weird old time. And then we've got
the elections. So they're predicting a blue wave And
the midterm, September, right?
Or November. But
but like anything with this, you've got 365 days in one with this administration. So there's so much.
Hopefully, you're saying, remember that thing in Iran back in the beginning of the year? Like, oh yeah, I forgot all about it. Hopefully, that's how it is.
Who killed Charlie Kirk? No.
That rabbit hole got a little bigger in the mainstream.
Oh, it did. It did.
The bullet doesn't fit.
Well, it makes you laugh, doesn't it? I mean, I've got a lot of...
I've been fighting you off on the conspiracy theories, and every once in a while, one creeps up, and I'm like, hey, wait a minute. How does it not fit?
I mean, that was minute one, day one.
The one thing, especially coming from law enforcement, is there was no autopsy.
Well, there was no crime scene.
There's no autopsy on a murder victim, which has never happened. I mean, Kennedy didn't he was supposed to, by law, he was supposed to have his autopsy in Dallas. And they were like, screw you, we are out of this town. And he had it at the Bethesda Medical Center by the Army and FBI, Army, Navy, FBI. So, but at least he had an autopsy.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't find his brain. There's no actual pictures. There's nothing lines up. However, he had one.
It feels like we can't provide a sort of good, we can't provide context to why this is about to happen. So we're just going to run as fast as we can and confuse you with so many other things.
You forget about it?
Whether that be Kash Patel, drinking with the American hockey team.
You're right. I already forgot about that.
We still haven't gotten over COVID and what that did to us. We haven't fixed it. We haven't resolved it. And it's like, just move on. What is this that we have to just move on? No, we want to go back. We want to reset.
I think it's the world's attention span with social media. Anything over 30 seconds is too long.
Yeah, but I think it's all coming in. Did you see the memes flying around today? Candace was right. That's buzzing everywhere. What used to be considered by those.
I thought there was a French assassination team after her.
I mean, I don't know who's protecting her. She must have.
She might be in the bunker.
Serious protection, or she's part of this wonderful.
She's the false flag.
Yeah. PSYOP. I don't know.
I can't. There's so much going on. I cannot do it, Ross. I am not going down the Candace rabbit hole. I just can't do it.
I don't know how many weeks we've done now, but I'm
retired. I'm retired, and I don't have enough time in my day for that.
Two speed. Come on, it goes in, it sticks there. No, there's clearly things are going to get wilder. I mean, you just know that it is, right? I mean, and the things that are being said now, never thought that I'd hear them said. Clearly the stock in Israel, of Israel, is through the floor. You probably got a taste of that in Ireland.
Yeah.
And then, look, I think that the bigger context to all of this is clearly that we're in an AI Cold War. Definitely with China and Russia. And, who's going to get the middle ground, or how's the middle ground going to, help whichever, superpower. I think that's the context for this mad rush. We don't get a lot from China in terms of, their capabilities, but this idea of this threat of nukes, I mean, forget nukes. What about 1 million killer drones? Yeah. Solar powered, whatever. I mean, they can fly at longer distance. They can hit anything. Americans and Israelis have hit civilian targets, so civilian targets are now on the table.
Right.
And I think speaking to a lot of friends, and they're turning around and how can I get fitter? What should my risk assessment include? What do I need? How many supplies? I mean, people are having these conversations.
Sure.
The same conversations that we were having during COVID.
Right. And the beginning of Ukraine.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Especially here, right?
Yeah.
It was funny. My wife was kind of giving me the warning of make sure you're not doing, nothing American flaggy, nothing. But I was rucking in the park yesterday, and I was wearing my hat with my Lyon Ruck Club patch. That's very French, right? It's the French flag with the lion on it. And some guy stared me down very hard. You know, because I guess the French, if you don't see them wearing French flags on their shirt, or so I'm like, this guy's eyeing me up pretty good, you know. So I was like, all right, note to self: it doesn't have to be an American flag. I guess any flag representing any sort of national identity, unless you're from Hamas or whatever, it's getting a weird look. So I took the patch off a little while, you know, a little ways away. I'm like, I don't need this. I'm 57-year-old man with a ruck on. I can't even run away.
You can still go, Billy. I'm sure.
Yeah,
but
at like 3 miles an hour, I think the young kid would have caught me. I can walk long. I can't walk fast.
Yeah, and then it's a question of how long can you last for before you're completely gassed, right?
Yeah. But it was just something interesting yesterday. Like, I never got that before. But times are different. You gotta watch out for yourself.
Yeah, I don't think we're going back. I think that's the most difficult thing to really grab a hold of. You know, COVID showed us, you know, we doing things that we'd never even thought possible. You know,
right.
Working remotely from home, and you're not allowed to leave your house. And you know, I was throwing out some papers the other day, and I found the COVID passport, the medical passport thing that we had. You know.
Oh yeah, had to get that one again.
Crazy.
I've been taking pictures at the airport. I mean, they're kind of like getting worn now.
Yeah.
With all the COVID. Stand here with all the circles and dots.
Yeah. Stand. Yeah, with the lines
it's like
on the floor.
Yeah, it's like a museum piece now. So I try to take
complete freak show. But but we haven't recovered fully from that. You know, and I think that this is every time there is something like this, you know, and probably intentionally designed to, you know, bring it down and rebuild so-called New World Order, whatever. But we're not going back. Like, this doesn't go back.
No.
This doesn't. You don't bomb a school and then like just go back to like normal, right? I mean,
yeah. I mean, that's the horrible part of war. You know, the civilians, the
innocents.
Yeah. You know.
But and for a generation, and I was even, you know, reflecting on, you know, raising 2 young girls. At what stage do you, I guess, make them aware of the reality as loosely as it may need to be? But like, at what stage do you sort of say, look, you know, this war started when you were 5 or when you were 6, or
right,
you know, and this is the context for why traveling is now more difficult, why we can't go there. I mean, I do feel coming down the tracks there is going to be some sort of stay at home, whether that be fuel prices are now through the roof. You know, rationing where you can go. They've been talking about these,
or your mayor taking all your driving lanes away.
Oh, yeah, and then getting voted back in. No, I think we're looking at something similar. And from a law enforcement perspective, how do you host under these conditions? And I want to get into it with not necessarily on this pod, but you know, with a background in major event security. I want to hear from the experts as how are they going to put on this show?
The safest, I don't want to say easiest way, are like rings of defense, you know, and what that makes it uncomfortable for is anybody in those rings, whether you're trying to get through them to get to the event, or you live there, or UPS, you know, FedEx, those type of things. But having as much standoff as possible and having people checked, you know, as early as possible before they're getting allowed in. I mean, but the drones, I mean, that's going to take governmental, you know, even NYPD has some counter drone technology, but, you know, not talking about you know, the wave of hundreds. I mean, that's government. That's a government coordination and getting people into the event. And then, of course, as you know, getting people out of the event, right? The buses and what cabs can get through. I saw that with the Olympics. You know, we had to walk like 2 miles to find a cab. getting out of the opening ceremony. But safe, relatively. You know, people who live in that area near a stadium, are they going to get searched? Is high rises or any buildings with vantage points checked? People standing there. You know, these are big considerations. Private security for certain things. Who's actually on the metal detector walking into the event? You know, sometimes I see some look like a kids from high school on their first job because they got the free Olympic uniform. You know, I walked through. I had my battery charger, which I found out later you weren't supposed to have. And then the next line, my sister-in-law went through, and they didn't want to let her go through because of lipstick.
Her little lipstick.
Literal lipstick. He opened it up. He's looking at it. He's like, "You can't have this." And she's like, "Is there like a supervisor here?"
That stuff's not cheap.
And some like older guy. Yeah, I find the older your lady gets, the more expensive that lipstick gets for sure. Yeah, and then some supervisor came over in his like mid-40s. He's like, let her go with that. That's fine. So, you know, training, rehearsing, making sure you have everything you need material-wise, making sure you plan it in advance enough. Like I heard all this stuff in Massachusetts, where the Patriots play, and I think the guy whose actual name is going to be on whether this succeeds or fails, sitting down with the city council, like, you got to give me money now,
right?
You know, you can't give me that a month out, and expect.
Well, I was there last year, and the same questions, you know, were being asked. Not just around the, you know, the central command and coordination, but you know, where's the budget? Has it landed? You know, how can we? We didn't know that the teams didn't. Yeah, and so looking at it, the most prominent publicly discussed figure for security costs in the U.S. is $625 million in federal funding appropriated by Congress, with an additional $250 million allocated for counter unmanned aircraft systems. Now, these budgets, they've got to have exploded by now.
Oh, yeah, especially now.
I mean, billions.
Yeah.
Billions going into security.
Is that total U.S. or is that like one event?
The estimated security costs are not fully aggregated publicly, but the U.S. portion centers on approximately $875 million in dedicated federal support. So whatever the U.S. is going into this World Cup, it's coming out a completely different place.
Yeah.
Because all those systems, the personnel, the structures, the lessons learned, the way of doing things.
Right. You know, but from the operational level, all that's great. Somebody signed the check. All these big boxes of things may show up. You know, all your metal detectors are over there. All your whatever. If that's not all put together and rehearsed with everybody who's going to actually be operating them on the day of the event, you're hoping for the best.
Yeah.
You know, who goes to the bathroom on an unannounced break or, you know, shift change? You know, all these things matter. And then, you know, if there's a reaction to, I don't know, just say like a shooter in, a stadium or something like that, you know, that's rehearsed on what side of the stadium, you know, what doors to use, who's going to guide you through. Have you walked that stadium? Do you know what section 305C22 is? You know, you walk into a stadium, you're like, oh God, you know what I mean? Because I've done a sniper detail on U.S. Open. Like every game in the U.S. Open has a sniper team assigned to it. And when you get there, you get the seating map and you look, and there's 2 or 3 stadiums there. So by the end of the week, depending on what game you get assigned, you're semi-familiar. But I couldn't imagine being a reaction team coming into a stadium that doesn't know everything about that place. And you're only going to get that by time and rehearsing. And who's going to take me there? You know, which guy am I looking for when I show up at the stadium? Or is, you know, if I'm in the stadium, is there a guy going to sit right next to me, who knows the entire place, my arm around him, like, all right, we're just going to wait for the call, but you're my tour guide to where I have to go. You know, there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah. I was really impressed with when I was in Seattle. It really, and you know, I can't remember the name of the stadium with is it the Seahawks?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they won this year, right?
Did they win?
Super Bowl, I think so.
Really?
I think so.
We would check that.
Might have to.
That's some nice merch. I'm not wearing it.
Whenever the Bills didn't make it, I stopped listening.
But I was really impressed with so you've got meaning the guys that manage the stadia.
Yep.
Right. So, and he must have been doing it for 30 plus years or something, but he knows everything about that stadium, the Absolutely. Team, you know, it was his baby. Right.
Yep.
And you know, that I'm not so worried about, despite, you know, what is it? How many months now since the Charlie Kirk assassination? And I mean, if it's taking so long to figure out that bullet didn't match the gun, then what hope do we have for lone shooters during the World Cup?
That guy you're talking about is somebody, when you show up, you know, whether it's for training or for an event, like that's the guy, you know, you want to talk to. Or that's the guy you want walking around like, hey, that dumpster's not supposed to be there. Like that guy knows more than years of training will give you.
Yeah, but then of course he's got to work with, you know, multiple agencies, just agencies.
Or some contractor shows up with his 50 guys, be like, yeah, thanks. Yeah, we know where the bathrooms are.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got the private security.
Yeah.
You've got the official law enforcement. You've then got the international police, which you saw in the Olympics. Qataris, the Germans, the Brits. I mean, it is an international event. You know, obviously screening passports, screening faces. It's a military operation. I mean, there's no other way to put it.
Yeah, cameras everywhere. Special
law enforcement powers, I'm sure.
Yeah.
We are now more aware of how complex politics is. You know, globally speaking, that you can't rule out these false flag situations, right? Sure. I mean, if it's going to take, you're not going to open up an investigation, you know, before you there's going to be a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And what's that reaction? You know, and we've seen it. We've seen it in what's transpired of this war so far, where, you know, blame gets apportioned to somebody and they say actually it wasn't, and then you've got
too
late. Former ally or not saying, or too late, or you've got a former ally saying actually we can confirm it wasn't them, and everything's just grey. The fog of war.
Fog of war is one thing, you know, but back to the invasion of Iraq, when the WMD thing, like that was, we're training up. My situation was a little different, just being from National Guard and going to another state to do a mission. We were never even supposed to leave Kuwait. Patriot missiles was supposed to be Kuwait. Everybody would go fight in Iraq, and, you know, Patriots. Then some genius decided to move the Patriots through the desert, which they've never trained to do, and it became a whole different thing. But the mission was weapons of mass destruction. You know, as a leader, you have to make sure your, you know, 20-year-old sergeant and private are down with the mission. They have to know what the mission is. You know, it's still the Army. They're going to have to do it no matter what, but you want everybody to know what the mission is from top down. And it was Saddam has to go and weapons of mass destruction. And I fought it. I fought it because there was chlorine bombs. There was, you know, some hint of, some hint of chemical weapons being used in ambushes, that type of thing, but it never panned out. So for me, there was that letdown of, you lied to me, you know, personally as a leader. Like I had a platoon, 30 guys. I told them that, you know, and I dragged them through the desert, got to Baghdad, and that was our mission. And then it turned into IEDs. They fired the army. Nobody in Iraq had a job, so everybody became a fighter. Like, this was the plan? You know? It's like we won the war, we couldn't win the peace. There was no plan for the peace.
It never seems to be, though.
That's why the U.S. with nation building, like, we lose our attention. We can't do it. It's not. There has to be some other element than the U.S. Army to do nation building. We can take the nation. I mean, we took Iraq in like 2 weeks. However, we lost that piece quick, and that's disappointing. You know.
Yeah, it must be heartbreaking.
And I don't want to see the same thing happen to these guys, this generation. You know.
No, for sure.
Like our friend's son.
Yeah.
Is lining up.
Is he?
His timing is almost spot on. So, you know, that element's scary. That brings it to life.
It really does.
For us now, you know, it's not me and my old memories of disgruntled veteran thing. It's like there's just people next in line who are ready to go. So it's not all about, you know, exposing if there's, you know, an impending lie that we're going to find out in 5 years. It's really, really, really going to make a lot of people angry.
But even on that, I mean, it doesn't really matter what the lies. There are no lies, right? I mean, in the sense that there's no mission, there's no objectives, and you wonder for those that haven't sort of been through it, you know, the military. But you know, how much can you cocoon these guys from, you know, conversation that Rogan's having, or conversation that, I don't know, Tucker's having, or what's on Fox, or what's on CNN, or, you know, how do you incubate these guys so that those questions, because, you know, I guess it's like, well, for me, the only thing that I can sort of liken it to in terms of a team sport, but you've got your, you know, coach basically sort of trying to get you up for, you know, a game on a Saturday, and I don't want to belittle this in any sort of way. It's just I've got no other reference in terms of, you know, what that must be like. But you're right, like there has to be belief in the mission, there has to be belief in the objectives.
There was it was getting to be 24 or 48 hours before the invasion. And we were, like I said, we were guarding the Patriot missiles. And there was some report, I can't remember where I heard it, that, you know, the company Raytheon makes the radar and the missiles for the Patriot missiles.
Right.
So I don't know if it was one of the soldiers who actually work with the missiles, because they were Raytheon contractors, civilians with us to work on the equipment. Like, that's how sensitive and high-end some of this equipment was. So, like, in our battlefield lineup, you know, there's a bunch of guys in jeans and tan shirts and hats on, which was odd for us. But the point is, somebody said, oh, yeah, we're all loaded up. We're all loaded up with the old Patriots because they want to fire these off. So the U.S. government has to buy the newer Patriot missiles that are coming out. Now, I didn't tell anybody that after I heard it, but personally, I was like, what the fuck am I doing out here? You know what I mean? I remember sitting on this box of AT-4s that, you know, it was a crate. We handed everything out and just sitting on it. And I remember writing this in my journal. Like, I didn't write too much in the journal just in case I got captured. Like, I didn't want any times, dates, location type things. But I remember writing that in there. Like, am I out here? Did they decide to move this unit that was supposed to sit in Kuwait that could cover all of Iraq with the radar? It's that capable.
Okay.
I don't think I'm giving out any secrets from 2003. And at the last minute, they're like, no, you're going with the 3rd Infantry Division across the desert. And they were, for the Army, they were the lead through the desert. And I'd been in National Training Center in California where we were trained as Russians to fight American armor units.
Okay.
Out in the desert for like 2 or 3 weeks at a time. And we always won. And every year, units were trained for a full year to come to National Training Center. So that used to be the way it was, right, in the late 80s. So I'm asking these guys, hey, have you been to, NTC, National Training Center? Oh, yeah, we pull we pull up in the parking lot, and we throw up our barbed wire, And, we cover everything from there. Like they don't go in the field. And from Kuwait, the first 3 or 4 days, we were in the desert. Like we didn't get to a highway until we got close to Baghdad. So the vehicles were somewhat capable. The drivers never drove at night. We had a Patriot missile. It's like what you would picture, a big truck with a couple of missiles on it. That's how they get transported. Drove off the side of the road at night and got stuck. So we had to secure it. We had to guard it.
During the night?
During the night. So I asked the driver, I go, how much night training do you get? He goes, night training? We're always on a highway. So just like complete, for military, it's like task condition standard. You train up on your, individual skills and then your collective skills, and it all gets brought together in big field training. No. So I'm watching that, I'm thinking about this right before the war starts, and I'm like, what the fuck? Why are they taking these guys? We had 30 guys in like 3 vehicles. It wasn't going to be up to us to get into the desert. It blew my mind. So I always resort back to that. And it makes me fearful, of what you're not told.
Well, I mean, just with the things that I'm learning about Iran, just, by nature of what I did previously, but obviously, in the new context of the war. And then you start learning about how ancient the civilization is. And
right.
This is no walk in the park. I mean,
no.
The US is celebrating its 250th anniversary. I mean, this is
Persia.
This is a shot in the dark for.
And that terrain of that country is devastating.
Well, they've got the high ground, don't they?
They're surrounded by mountains.
Mountainous. So to your point in terms of training, like, I mean, I guess, again, getting back to the sort of rugby analogy, or even boxing, but, you've got multiple people going down, multiple teams going down at altitude, just by nature of it being different to South Africa, and just makes, Lennox Lewis famous loss, or, name a team. And the fact that you're playing against the hardest rugby players in the world, they've also got this advantage of local knowledge. They've acclimatized. Clearly, they hold all the cards.
Yep.
And you're sending young kids in to fight. It's almost an impossible task.
And then you look at the will of the people.
Right.
So they'll fight to the death because that's their home. And what happens in America is they put the death tally up on the evening news, like NBC. Whatever the death count is for the war, they'd have it like in the corner.
Mm.
And
is that pretty accurate? Is that?
Oh yeah, no, I think it was accurate, but it was kind of like, I don't know, choosing sides. But I think that type of thing changes the will of the American people. Plus, your neighbor doesn't make it. Things like that change the will. And the U.S. does not have a strong will for, at least since World War II. I mean, Korea, right? That's still a stalemate. Vietnam, everybody turned. Gulf War, that was quick. And then, the last 20 years, America's tired of it. And supposedly we have the leaders in place that served overseas, saw the nonsensical reason for being there for 20 years. But boom, here we are, getting ready for the 82nd to jump in.
And so in terms of, how you're following it at the moment, have you got any advice in terms of who to get the best information from? Like, are you seeing the landscape change, the media landscape change? And because what you've got is, which hasn't really happened before, but you've got a lot of independent experts, and I'm talking former military guys.
Yeah.
They seem to be.
Anybody who really knows can't talk about it.
Can't talk about it.
They still have General Jack Keane, the 4-star general on Fox.
Yeah.
I watched him in Iraq in 2003, giving his updates and his opinions and I'm like, my God, man. Really? Like, for me, Fox, at this point, it's a little too hoorah, hoorah. Here's some more videos. And then, CNN you listen to, and it's like, oh, the poor Ayatollah.
Yeah.
So there's, there's no win. I don't think there's really any accurate information that's going to come out until it's done. Because anybody who knows can't talk.
Yeah. And so in terms of anything to prepare your mind or to prepare, like, is there stay fit, stay healthy, spend time with the family?
Well, I keep rucking. I'm like, things go bad here, man. I might walk to Portugal.
Yeah, but if you haven't done your desert training, I mean, there's from pub to pub in Dublin's a little bit different from Desert Storm.
It's all training, Russ. It's all training.
It's true. So what's next for the Lyon Rocking Club?
Now we got a big American contingent coming from Normandy for the 12-miler.
How many is confirmed?
1, 2, 3, and possibly 5.
Is that right?
I have nothing to do with the group. You know what I mean? Like, my buddy called me up. I want to do it. I'm like, all right, I'll look for another place. He's like, but then this guy wants to do it, and he wants to bring 3 friends. I'm like, all right, here's the town.
Right?
Good luck. Like, I'm not doing housing for 15.
So who was there in Dublin that I know?
Brian.
Yeah, Brian.
Brian came
over.
Saw the
photo, yeah. And still in shape. Good man. Yeah, what is he like? He's got to be like 70 years old now. What did he say last year? He's like 60 something?
Yeah.
Damn,
he's like 62.
He's like a fit young 40-year-old.
He looks like he's 25, yeah. Kevin. Kevin. We actually, on this trip, at one point we had 3 Kevins.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And Kevin and his wife are fast.
Our boy here.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, my God.
Don't tell me that. Come on.
Him and his wife.
They're at it. Oh, yeah. Bro. Come on. She shout out to her. She sets the pace.
She only needed to carry 10 pounds for a female. She carried 20 pounds for the male weight, and she was gone.
She can go.
She's like, where's the next place? She put it in the phone. Boom.
Is she coming to Normandy?
I'm going to say no. But I told her about some GORUCK events. They do some of these like 24 hours, see how many miles you can do.
Right.
I'm like, I'm going to send you links for these because this is right up your alley. We're slowing you down. I mean, I was blocks behind her at one point.
Really?
Yeah.
No, she has to come. And then I've got to get with her. The fast track.
Yeah, especially for that 12-miler because you can blast on that one.
I say that. I first time rocking just last week, and I was in pain. Yeah. That first time back is not easy. Back's gone. Well, it's not gone. It's just sort of like you've used the muscle in your back.
It's amazing. I mean, because when you do it a lot, you're like, oh, I'm not getting anything out of it anymore.
Exactly.
And then you miss a week or two, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a calf muscle.
I cannot speak enough about this. I mean, it's not the hardest thing I've ever had to do. You know, you don't have to go to those pain points, but and the fact is, you sort of, as soon as you put down the rock, you're like, you're still burning.
Yeah.
No, there needs to be, for me, in terms of, rugby and the martial arts, with the military style training. I mean, I was digging holes in the garden the other day. I was moving. I wanted to.
Not like digging a hole.
That's how I thought about you. I'm like, it's such a basic activity. So necessary.
I mean, I think they've been doing that since the beginning of warfare.
And when you do it, like, you are screwed.
Oh, yeah.
They should give, I'm telling you, that Scottish rugby team, they should just give them a bunch of shovels and say, get at it.
And to standard is 18 inches of overhead cover.
What do you mean?
So you dig your hole.
Right. Stand in it.
Got to be able, stand in it. Then you put your overhead, right? So some wood, something solid, right? To block anything come in on you. But the Army standard back in the day was 18 inches of overhead cover.
Okay.
So something that could stop a bullet 18 inches above what you've dug.
So what do you do?
Sandbags.
I see. Okay.
If you're lucky, you got a good piece of timber you could get up on there. But then, you got to be a little bit of an engineer because I've seen a few of those fall in.
Fall in.
Or another high-ranking officer says, "No, you need to move those 10 feet to the right." That's a morale crush.
So you've dug a few fair holes.
Yeah, it was.
I'm telling you, we should do that. We should do the rucking with shovels and then just be like,
dig in.
You move it from there to there, and you move it back again.
I mean, that's how you fight a war. If you want to.
Well, I'll be training.
If you're not in a vehicle, you do your mission during the day, and then you got to dig in at night. And you don't want to skimp. The life you save may be your own.
Is that the tagline? So we've got Easter coming up. We're off back up to Scotland to see family.
Nice.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. Sad to be. I think the weather changes tomorrow.
Oh, you're going to come back and it's going to be 90.
It's going to be, and everything will be out in bloom. And I'm a gardener these days, so I miss my garden.
They put the flowers in Parc Tête d'Or.
Oh yeah,
they put a.
Oh, it's beautiful down there.
Man, they do a great job.
They really do a great job. It's such a stunning spot.
You can get some ideas, because every year it's different.
The
combination. I've seen guys out there on ladders laid across, so they could lay on the ladder.
Yeah,
with scissors, trimming, around the fountains and stuff.
Yeah,
I mean they, new idea.
Yeah, to those that don't know, it's sort of, I guess, Lyon, which is a very small city, but it's sort of, I guess, Central Park. Yeah, and it's a stunning public park right by the Rhone, and it's beautiful. About 5 kilometers and
about 5 kilometers, and a free zoo.
Yeah, when I first arrived here, I went for a run in the park. Started to get dark, and I started to hear wild animals, and I was completely freaking out with what it was. And there, obviously a strong smell of, I think it was the giraffes or something. But I got back into work the next day, and I was like, "There's some funky stuff in that park," and they're like, "Yeah, there's a zoo in the middle of it." I had no idea. Thankfully, didn't run into the lion cage, which I think they've got about 3 lions there or something, haven't they? What do you got planned for Easter?
We're going up near Dijon.
Are you?
For the weekend.
For the mustard?
Yeah.
You like mustard?
More like, I do, but we're going up more for a spa.
Oh, yeah?
And a wine tasting.
For the recovery from Dublin. And then, I'm still on for June. I've got that earmarked.
All right.
But we're going to have to sort out 2 things, accommodation and...
I got accommodation for you, but right now you're the third man in, so you're a top bunk. Or an air mattress.
And then it's just a question of keeping up with the beers that, the Americans, they can put their beers
I don't know what you're talking about, Ross.
Anyway, it's great to have you back. And obviously we're keeping a track of all the developments out in Iran. And big respect, obviously, to everybody who serves. Stay safe. Till next time.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.